Hello everyone, I'm Sidival, and today we're gonna finally continue reading World and Economica and starting episode 2. So we finished first episode on what all things was bad for our main characters. They lose contest. Well, not like exactly lose, but take second place when they really wanted to win first one. But it's like not really bad, just a little bit. From bad things for them, there was the trust by people with money to make more. Well, poor people give them most of their money in hope they can make this money into more money, and they need it because there was some they was get to in depth, and there was some sort of things with lands on which they living, because apparently it should be renovated or something like this, and they should have this land to. I mean, people should have this land to actually be compensated by government, I guess, by city. But since they have debt, they're gonna lose their land and just pretty much gonna lose everything. And because that, they trusted money to Karo and Kagana, and it didn't work. These two actually lost all of the money because one reason. Barton, person who promised to take Haru as apprentice, I guess. Actually, wasn't Barton, and actually was some person who connected to these people who give credits and wanted to use people and their debts, and because of that he give Haru wrong information and make him lose all money. Worse than that, because everything was what was Kagana is disappear. I mean, run away, disappear. And Haru actually became disabled for some reason. I actually don't completely understand why it's happened. I guess something mental stuff, but yeah. Last time we see him in wheelchair and he actually didn't able to move. And yeah, it was end of first chapter. Pretty bad. So, and I believe in this chapter we're gonna have time skip, and we'll see how things gonna be. Well, one thing I actually kind of spoiled myself when I checked the game files for thumbnails. I mean, future thumbnails. I know what in these chapters there probably not gonna be Hagana. At least wasn't sprites with her, and there's also some new female character. Well, last one it's not really a spoiler since she also on cover for this chapter. So yeah, I guess let's start and let's see how he's going. If Haru stayed disabled, if well, we know how Kagana disappeared, so yeah. But what's going on with our people? And what's Haru nowadays doing? Oh, by the way, I believe Lisa in end of first chapter, Lisa contacted Haru's parents. So I guess he probably gonna return to his family. And isn't Lisa actually said what she gonna sell church? I'm not sure about this. I mean, she also has some expensive books. So kinda interesting if she can sell them and help our people. Who knows? Well, she obviously didn't want to sell these books. I guess we're gonna learn this when we start. So let's start. Start. Long ago, there was a girl I was unable to trust through and through, to the bitter end. I wasn't able to hold on to her hand in the storm that was throwing us around. Overcome with panic and fear, I had ended up only looking for a way out, when I should have been fighting tooth and nail. The issue wasn't that I had tried to find a way out. It was that I hadn't been able to hold on to the hand of the one who had faith that we could pull through together. So I guess it's Haru trying to... Well, it's obviously Haru trying to remembering Kagana. In those final moments, I lost sight of who I should have believed, what I should have protected, and what was truly important. It turned out that bravery wasn't about not being afraid of anything, but rather it was about holding one's grace under pressure. I wasn't brave. I didn't have a shred of grace. I had wet myself and prayed to an imaginary god, had ended up holding on the understanding and lenient hand of the river, rather than on the hand of the person important to me. I could never know if the outcome of an experiment would be a success or failure. Of course, there was nothing better than success. However, there were some failures that you must never commit. It had been 4 years since then, but I still woke up in the middle of the night, gasping for that hazy white light that I could never reach no matter how hard I chased it. There were some things that you couldn't let go of in this world. That knowledge was now stuck on my heart like an insect pinned to a board. Interesting. Is it was a new image or old one? Well, this definitely new background. Hmm. What is this place? Is it place where he living with his parents? To be honest, I was imagining something like village or something. Didn't they was farmers? Broken glass, dilapidated walls, and a life with the bolt pulled out. Uh, I stood in front of apartment complex with all of these in the impoverished area. Nobody was here to clean them up, so the streets were filled with piles of empty beer bottles and wrapped coated in rain and garbage. It was just before 11 a.m. The quietest time in the quietest time in the residential area. I readjusted my luggage and passed through the apartment's dimly lit entrance. Luggage. Interesting. Up until recently, much like the slums down on Earth, this part of Lunar City hadn't been such a bad area. As our districts became nicer, those who could no longer afford the rent there took up residence in this district, causing its land value and quality of life to decrease. When things seems bleak, eventually a sharp-eyed somebody would be attracted to the low property value and set out collecting capital to redevelop it. The old apartments and buildings would be torn down, the humble little waterly hall would become a proper bar, and the enduring general goods store that let you put things like shampoo and soap on tap would be transformed into a harmless modern shopping mall. And that new spice and span place will have no room for filthy individuals who's unable to keep up with the pace of gentrification will go searching for yet another place to live. This happened without fail whenever a city was established on the lunar surface. It probably was a cycle that had been repeating ever since mankind had first started creating cities. Lately, this cycle had seemed to become shorter, which meant that the people living here would probably be kicked out soon. Thinking about that made me feel slightly gloomy. As I passed through the chilly corridor fashioned out of nothing but limestone blocks, it was even dimmer than the entryway. I passed an elevator that had been out of order for months now, heading for the stairways next to it. I made my way up, one step at a time, on my crutch. On electricity, the our abundant resource on the moon, where it was said that even breathing cost money, had started to become scarce because of the rapid development. Prices grew with scarcity. The poorest were the first to be unable to afford it. Lunar City had lowered its atmospheric temperature by more than 10 degrees in order to conserve electricity, so the morning and night were much cooler much colder compared to 4 years ago. It was pretty warm around noon, but still felt a bit nippy if you were just lazing around. So, by the way, interesting, why he is here? Like, from what they explaining now, right now, I believe it's probably a place when people who give Haru and Kaganamami probably gonna was moved, but Haru still has his family. So is he not with his family? Or maybe he's just visiting? Who knows? I took a deep breath and made my way towards my destination, the 4th floor. But before I even reached the landing of the 3rd floor, I heard their energetic voices. At the sound of it, there was quite a commotion in the room. I inwardly cringed, but I guess the situation just was inevitable. Today was that kind of day. I thought it was wonderful myself. Has to be Mr. Jones' place from Lot 14. Get our drinks too, not just liquor. Interesting, if we're gonna meet some old characters, or it's gonna be something new. Well, I'm expecting something old. Making my way up the steps one at a time, I suddenly heard a booming voice so loud that it made me wonder how badly it was echoing inside the apartment. It wasn't a coarse voice out. If I were complimented it, I would say it sounded very clear. I got it. I ain't a kid. The response came from the guy tapping his way down the stairs. Running past the stairs landing, he paused in front of me with a look of disbelief on his face. We knew each other. His hairstyle had changed so much that it was hard to shake the feeling that it looked off. I thought it had looked that way for 4 years now. So, since they talking about hair, is it Gerald? Wow. He looked completely different. Now he actually looked cool. Hey, you finally made it. It's already started. I heard. Sound pretty lovely. Cause we don't have many happy occasions like this. Cause we don't have many happy occasions like this. Trout had his hair back instead of wearing it in his characteristic afro. He descends a few stairs before bringing his hand up to my shoulder. What are you waiting around for? Hurry your ass up. Don't keep the star of the show waiting. Interesting. Who it is? Is it gonna be Lisa? I mean, we don't know a lot of characters. It can be... yeah, we don't know like a lot of characters. It can be Lisa, it can be Chris. I don't think it's gonna be Tayama. Don't completely remember his name. I mean, I believe you also seen Chris Favor. So yeah, and it's, I believe, all characters we've actually seen. Anyway. Yeah, probably it's gonna be Chris or Lisa. Are you getting cold feet? I'm not. I just was thinking how you haven't changed at all. What? Haha. And with my hair like this and me wearing a tie when I got to work. Sarah child as he said that. Interesting. Is he lost his cafe? I mean, probably since he need to wearing a tie. His hair aside, he didn't wear a tie. nor did he go to his job often. But still, going from owning a dubious internet cafe in the outskirts to being a senior engineer in a big-name software company was indeed a huge change. Okay, so we get our answer. It seemed that Siraut had regretted not being able to help Lisa when she was in dire straits for 4 years ago. He would live without money, but if he had some, he could help ours. That was why he had given up the afro. Instead of just talking about our people, what about you? Huh? I'm talking about Lisa. When I said that, Siraut's face went sour and his mouth twisted, scratched his head, started up and let out a big sigh. This was probably an old habit from when he still had the afro. Adult relationships ain't that simple. So, are they together or not? Because it seems like there is something between them. Anyway, without missing a beat, I replied, I'll bet. Acting all pretentious, you think you're an adult by saying that? I looked at Siraut without saying a word. I brought my fingers to the edges of my mouth, pushing them up. It was an artificial smile. After that day 4 years ago, my face, much like my left leg, had become unable to move. Okay, so it had consequences. Nothing good comes from being an adult. Siraut said that with a sigh. I could have facial expressions. I would certainly be smiling wide at his complaining. Weren't you on your way to buy something? Oh yeah, that's right. I'll get you something if you want. Want a kiddie drink? I'd appreciate that, but... What? I ducked out of work. I need to get back afterwards. So... Haru have work. Interesting. If he still use stock markets. I mean, I'm not gonna be surprised if he afraid to do these things. For now, science. So that's the end of first episode. But since we don't know about well, stock market and stuff like this, or END ECONOMiCA, I mean, maybe it's something else. We're not sure if it's only about stock markets. So yeah, I guess he's still working and do stuff like this, or he gonna return in the future to this, or at least I think so. Anyway, Rod looked dumbfounded and shrugged his shoulders. You're a workaholic. That's phrase, but I need to work or else I get kicked out of the dorm and be forced to quit school. Oh, and he actually going to school. Alright, you have a work scholarship. You're getting it in exchange for working in public service, was it? Right. Because of this lag, I'm an underdog in this society. I've been able to claw my way in, but I've always just grabbing by with my grades. If I don't work hard, I could be tossed aside. I wonder if they do that. They're probably always short on help. They seem to think that it does really matter if things aren't working properly. Siraut pointed on that, then spoke very frankly. So it's just like on the lunar surface. Well, at least they're being consistent about it. And in reality, things are working alright to a certain extent. Siraut stared at me silently for a brief moment before slowly making his way down the stairway. You're too grown up now. Thanks. Sound replied to my retort with a humph through his nose and descended the flight of stairs. Are you sure you just want a kiddie drink? I heard him from up the stairs, but I didn't reply. Ascending the steps, I entered the corridor on the fourth floor. Laughter filled the air. Okay, so I guess we can guess which room it is, or apartments. Well, actually, interesting. If it's apartments, or he makes some small church from this, well, maybe it's all. It's both. So, but yeah, obviously it belonged to Lisa. It's probably quite lovely. Since Gerald had to be sent out to restore before it was even noon. Here in the place, everyone was really in good spirits, but you could hardly say that. Sorry. But you could hardly say they were handling their drinks in a classy way and through clenched teeth. It was true that I had to go back to work after this, but even if I didn't, I'd still be on my guard. I took off my coat and tie and slung my coat over my arm. I tended to tease people who dressed too sharply. Oh, by the way, I just realized him not being able to use his leg. It kinda big contrast with first episode since he was kinda in good form and like constantly just jumping and running around. And obviously now he can do it. So yeah, we can really see end of first episode really caused a lot of change for him, a lot of consequences. Anyway, if absolutely necessary, I could probably make use of this immobile left leg of mine. I could probably drop my crutch and take a dive to get out of anything that might happen. As I was pondering that, I turned the corner in that small corridor was stopped in my tracks. There was a figure in the corridor. Yeah, Lisa. He actually really changed. Well, it's mostly her hair became longer. Okay, to be honest, her face looked a little bit strange. I feel like it's something wrong with her eyes. But anyway. Oh my! She ordered that upon noticing me while she was flying her clothes to cool off in the corridor. It was Lisa, who had sheltered me when I ran away from home 4 years ago, and had taken care of me after all my troubles. She had grabbed the midsection of her black and white robes, and was flapping the hem around, very unladylike. She was cheerly as usual, but her face showed signs of fatigue, and her cheeks were rosy, and thought she had a fever. I thought about pointing out that she was drunk, but no. Pointing out someone's drunkenness got one or two reactions: annoyance and delight, both were troublesome to deal with. It was just rare to see Lisa like this. Usually she was the one showing hospitality. She must have been really happy about today. You're quite late. I was beginning to think you forgot. I didn't forget. Work was piling up, so I had to show up to the office a bit. Goodness, really? Well, it's okay. Everyone waited. I wonder if they planned on me bringing alcohol. When I said that, Lisa gave me a blank stare. She then laughed as she hit me on the shoulder. You're so cheeky nowadays. When you're out, I still spoke like a street punk. Okay, now she actually seems alright. I guess it was just what? I guess it was just some strange angle. Anyway. This went deep into thought. 4 years earlier, this always reprimanded me our half-forgotten nasty my speech was then something happened. Yeah, I think you were cuter back then. I pushed out the corners of my unmoving mouth, created an artificial smile. Lisa gave another small smile and laid a hand on my head. But I love the way you are now, too. You should be saying that to Siralt. Lisa suddenly froze up on hearing that, and she looked like she had sobered up. Ha, she is blushing. You shouldn't tease adults. Crowd said the same thing. Lisa wanted to retort, but she wasn't able to think straight because of the alcohol. She tapped her head like she was fighting back a headache and changed the subject with an anyways as she straightened up. Carry your butt inside. The star has been waiting for you all this time. Is there somewhere birthday? I mean, I guess maybe it's Chris' birthday. That doesn't count as teasing. I'm not teasing. Also, since I'm good big sister as well as humble servant of God, I can't stand seeing her so restless. I couldn't tell if she was being blunted than usual because she was drunk, or if she was using her drunkenness as an excuse. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's about Chris. I knew what she really wanted to say, and also knew she couldn't be honest. And still, it didn't make the walk any easier for me. Well, I do realize everyone has their own issues, but today is a celebration, okay? His smile could skillfully express a wide range of emotions. Her smile right now was that of an understanding friendly neighborhood big sister. I didn't sigh, but just gave a small shrug. So, you're at least brought a present, right? It was only with that phrase that a terrifying expression came to her face. Of course, I couldn't forget one. She nodded as if saying, then you may pass, with an expression like a security agent, before pointing to the far back of the corridor. Are you going? I'm going to cool off a bit more. More people will probably be going in the evening, so I need to conserve my energy. Don't overdo it. Goodness. You're not as young as you used to be. Well, it was really rude. I started walking off, as if dodging the raised fist of the wide-eyed Lisa. Soon, I began hearing an endless amount of cheerful laughs, and tossed as I reached the door. There was a side hung on the wall with 22nd block church written on it. So, she did turn into the church. Lisa was in charge of a different church 4 years ago. She had been kicked out of there and had returned to Earth, but she finally managed to come back to the lunar surface after jumping from place to place and somehow settled down here. I hadn't heard the details, but it seems she has gone through lots of hardships. It still hurt my heart to think about it. She would never say it herself, but it was entirely my fault. She had to let go of the church and some of her books, which she cherished more than anything in the world. So yeah, she eventually sold the books. Moreover, the star of this celebration was right by my side when I brought about this catastrophe. So, is it about Hagana? But isn't she disappeared? I was worrying up until this morning about what sort of face to present to her at this celebration. It's a blessing that my expression didn't change, regardless of my feelings. That, and the fact that Lisa and Gerald were both meddling, pushing me from behind and saying, "Get your butt over there." I took a deep breath and prepared myself. 4 years ago, I lost sight of that was really important. So I kept telling myself that this time I wouldn't look away. I took one step from the door. It was that large of an apartment, so it was a straight shot into the living room from the corridor. It was like I came at a perfect time. The star of the day was right in front of my eyes. So much had happened 4 years ago. Okay, I still think it's gonna be Chris, but if so, it's kind of strange phrasing. Hmm. Anyway, but that person had never once blamed me for anything. Honestly, this was someone I couldn't make it up to, no matter how hard I tried. She looked like she was on the verge of blossoming into a woman, having grown a little taller since 4 years ago. Perhaps she was uneasy because she was actually worried that I wouldn't come. It was a ridiculous thought. How could I not come? She let out a laugh that bordered on tears when she realized that I wasn't a ghost or anything of the like. So much had happened since that day 4 years ago. I was helped, and I'll bet not much, I helped her some, but I didn't think that it reduced my crime. And that was why I had come here. Okay, it is Chris. Hmm. Congratulations on getting into college. Hand my gift over to shaggy haired Chris. As I said that, open it. Okay. From this opening we also can notice that there wasn't Hagana besides um, flashback, and there was a lot of Chris and New Girl. Hmm. Also, New Girl looks rich, so I think she gonna be from Newton City, or from. I mean, she probably gonna be rich. Hmm. But interesting how we gonna meet her, or how Haru gonna meet her. I don't think they going in one school. Hmm. Anyway, I guess let's just continue reading. Things were already out of hand at this celebration. It was 7 noon. numerous everyday gloomy issues could certainly be used as the loose excuse that brought this excitement. Someone pulled out an investment. Drawn in by the lively atmosphere, people started to gather. Before long, the 22nd block church was overflowed with drunkards. It would probably be hard and for a breastfed child to refuse a drink at this point. But since it was so crazy, nobody would notice if one or two people disappeared. Hmm. By the way, I didn't notice, but Haru actually also really changed. Like, before he looked really different. Now he looking just as a generic, boring person. Hmm. I mean, makes sense since he no more ran away and actually working and studying. Anyway, after failing to decline my third beer, I was finally able to escape to the stairway that led to the apartment rooftop. As I didn't normally drink much, my head was buzzing and I felt a bit short of breath. Pressing my head against the limestone wall in the dim stairway where the sun didn't shine gave me a nice and cool feeling. It really was great that Chris was going off to college, and I totally understood why all of these guys here were making such an uproar about it. The people who built their success with nothing but their shorts on their backs were not the terror here, on the lower surface, but it only appeared that way because there were so many who were trying. In reality, your chances of success here were probably the same, no, maybe even lower than that on yours. It was a fact that assailed my mind relentlessly. Eventually, quite a lot of citizens who looked up at the crystalline skyscrapers of Newton City had themselves paralyzed with resignation. Yet, there were those rare few who never gave up, whose were the kind who graduated after they studied fervently with their left hand long after their right hand was worn out. The kind who were accepted into Lunar City University by skimming grades. The kind on privileged scholarship. She had been a hard worker since she was young, but watching her from sidelines that last year was just sublime. She probably worked so hard because her father, her only living relative, had returned to Earth, where he was saving his money to pay off his debt by working in one of the rigorous mineral harvesting sites. Still out, people couldn't always keep at it when under pressure. Chris never bent, never lost focus, never gave in. She was simply amazing. So different, so very different from me. My body stopped moving on that day 4 years ago. That was how much of a shock it was for me. I pressed my head absent-mindedly against the wall in a desolated area for weeks, for months. Thinking about it now, I wasn't all but a cripple. It wasn't suffering and regret repeating over and over. On the contrary, it would have been so much better if it had been that intense. Just like I had lost my power cord, and like my battery had run out, there was nothing I could do. The one who checked up on me, talked to me, slowly pulled me back into reality during that time was Chris. Of course, back then, Chris and I weren't that close, and I heard much later that it was Lisa who suggested she come over to my house. That was why she mostly walked in stealthily, making timidly a short appearance. What made my blues start coursing through my head again was the irony of her coming, and thought she was so afraid, and her forced smile. Her inquisitive blue eyes came to my mind as I pressed my head against the wall. She stuck her head out from the corner of the corridor. She looked around quickly like a rabbit, with whose eyes behind her large round glasses. Her messy hair was same as always. The only thing that changed were her height and her somewhat more pronounced figure. I mean, I reminisced one more about the Chris from my memories. My guess caused Chris to falter. As usual, she looked around again before coming by my side. Nested against her chest was a paperback that I recognized. I then finally realized that this was, in fact, the real Chris. So, there you are. I thought she had been accepted into college. It appeared that she still couldn't fix that worried-looking smile of hers. It made me want to straighten up her slumber posture and tell her to have more confidence. What about you? Can the star of the show just disappear like that? Looks like alcohol is the star. That wasn't her pursuing herself, it wasn't her putting herself down, but more likely what could be observed from the state of that room. When I motioned for her to take the spot next to me, she sat by my partially after a slight hesitation. What were you thinking about? This had always started the conversation these past 4 years. I mean, he looked really out of it. About the past. The past? When you began coming to my place. He's blinking with surprise. He had his glasses when I bluntly said that. She then gave a rare, terribly precocious smile. You're quite mean. Mean? Yeah, because she had an obvious sore look on her face when she said that. Back then, Lisa had asked me to go, and that's why I went. Ah, well, that's true. Yeah, I couldn't understand that Chris meant with her reassuring nod. Yeah, but well, oh. Huh? In the beginning, it was just you coming by. Yeah, that's because there was that stuff with my dad and a different house. Somehow I felt like I was going crazy. Ah, that's not it. We're talking about how you're mean for saying such a thing. Because of the liquor, I couldn't think straight. Did you come here today because you were asked to? He's used to Fred, and we started like a little corny animal, but now whose vicious blue eyes of yours started to be. Like how this with Lisa said I had changed. This had become more grown up. Maybe, sort of. This appeared to be genuinely hard when I gave my answer, but that was the truth. There was many categories of truth. But I'm still grateful, even now, that you came to me then, even if you didn't want to. Just look at me with a suspicious gaze. But when I met that look with an honest face, she gave up and told me with an amazed smile. And I'll just be grateful too. And appreciate it if you were. This giggle took a few deep breaths and continued talking. Anyway, Hal. Yes, my lady? When I answered with mock respect, Chris looked at me with a mix of happiness and annoyance. Chris was the type who liked being teased, so I couldn't help it. Don't make fun of me for this. I won't. What is it? The gift. Can I open it? I thought about that. Twice wandered to her bosom. She always looked like a girl who had just woken up, still embracing something, and now she was holding onto that parcel affectionately. I moved my gaze from the back to her face before responding. Of course, go ahead. Hehehe. This looked truly happy as she opened the gift. Yeah, Chris also really changed. I mean, when we first meet her, Haru and actually we wasn't sure if he actually boy or girl, but now it's kinda obvious that she is a girl. I think the first thing I ever gave Chris were big pork buns from the old pork bun lady. At that time Chris was on guard like a feral cat being fed by a human for the first time. Of course, it wasn't something one could loud act. Closing the gap between people was a tremendous feat. But that was why you could do things with someone you wouldn't have otherwise imagined when you closed that gap and trusted them. I never would have thought when I first met Hagana that we'd hold hands while sleeping in the same bed, and that I'd think of her as the most important person in the world. That was why it was also very easy to take that trust and twist it. I wasn't used to trusting others. I was a kid who not only didn't know how to trust someone, but also didn't know how out to be trusted. I would never forget that the man named Barton. But what I had done to Hagana was on a totally different level. It was more pathetic and cruel. At the 11th hour, I had brushed away Hagana's hand. I was afraid. I still remember the sensation of my hand from then. Half of my right hand ached and went numb when I remembered it. Not and figuratively, it really was itching. The reason was physiological. The very same reason my body wouldn't move. It was true that was said about illness starting in your mind. If you thought overcame your mind, then your body responded in kind. Ugh. I tried to stop my right hand from itching, but I couldn't do it. There was a famous line in physiology about not thinking about a white bear. When someone said, "Don't think about white bear," it was hard to think of anything but white bear. Is it white bear? I believe I hear it like, "Don't think about being elephant" or something like this. Um, okay, let's moving because there is a really annoying sound. When I tried to clear my thoughts of Hagana was all I could think of. The mischievous gaze in her eyes, her black outfit, and the cute, innocent smile she showed from time to time were so charming. It was me, this right hand of mine, that had pushed all that away. I became as stiff as a tree trunk, trying as hard as I could to hide how my right hand was shaking. From my hand to my wrist, from my wrist to my arm, from my arm to my shoulder. My throat felt clogged by a shivering fear that gripped my entire body. Ugh, it's okay. As I snapped out of it, turning my head, I saw that Chris had reached over and was holding onto my right hand. It's okay. That was all you could do back then. And all we did was rely on you. His blue eyes looked at me from behind with plain and practical round glasses. With beautiful blue eyes, heroes, and unfaltering with their unwavering confidence. So I'm wondering if there is possible things between Haru and Chris. Like, not sure. I mean, I don't think he is still. I can move on from Hagana on, but who knows? I mean, it was for a year. Well, we obviously seen what it still gave him a lot of pain. Um, Also, I kind of interesting. What gonna be in game in romance in this trilogy? Like, obviously, even if we don't see Hagana in this chapter, I kind of believe she probably gonna return at some point. Maybe on the end of this chapter. I mean, this episode, or maybe in the third one. So, is he gonna choose Hagana at the end, or he gonna uh, became close to another girls, to Chris or another girl that we seen on cover of this chapter. Anyway, I mean, even now he is thinking what Chris eyes is beautiful, and he is charmed, so... Charmed by the sight, I felt like my spiral of failure came to a halt. I started to spin back slowly. Chris had stopped this seizure-like episode of mine many times over these last few years. The quickest way to chase out doubts of Hagala from my mind was to only think about what was in front of me. It was Chris' gentle hand that firmly stitched me into reality. Did it pass? That inquiring smile of hers always made me feel like she was being saved from something as well. It was one of the strange aspects of Chris. I thought I was the one being saved. Yeah, I'm fine, it seems. The alcohol must have been bad. I noted that out, being both ashamed and grateful to her for stopping my shaking. No, it was your fault. Huh? You looked so happy opening the bag, and I remember when I gave you whose pork once. I thought remembering the past isn't good for me. Just look at me in disbelief. Her face cramped up like she was about to burst into tears. When Chris made that face, I wanted to hold her hand. To save someone in their time of need. I knew this was a simple reaction a man makes. But I also knew that Chris had feeling for me. Naturally, Lisa and Cyril teased her about it. Even so, there was something in me that stopped my hand, and Chris was aware of that as well. Yet neither of us could speak of it. It felt bad for both of us, but neither of us wanted to cross that line. That was why I was able to calmly say it. It's just that seeing how happy you get over pork once, I don't think you'll be too happy about this present. What? What do you mean by that? She said that while digging into the paper bag, as if she just remembered it was there. Looking at the face Chris made when she took it out made me grateful that my face couldn't move. But then I probably have a sinister sneer on my face that would anger the ever-tolerant Chris. A brush? It's a high-end item made of boar bristles. Boar? What's? Huh? Oh. Make yourself pretty by brushing your hair a bit. I took the brush from Chris' hand and put it against her golden bird nest of a head. Chris actually jumped back and ran, so I didn't actually brush her. Her face went red, so I didn't chase after her. Chris had her back against the wall. I stroked the bristles of the brush with my fingers before tossing it over to her. Instead of scratching your head while you're studying, you can run the brush through your head. Through your hair. With blushing Chris kinda cute, as well as pointing Chris. After watching her groaning from the corner of my eye, I faced her directly and pushed out the corner of my mouth with my fingers. I understood very well why Liz and Cyril teased her, but I too didn't want her to be told by them. Chris came reflectively to give me a hand as I tried to stand up on my crutch. She looked a little concerned when I stood up before her. I looked at the brush in Chris' hand before looking at her face and spoke. Well, just like me. All you need to do is tend to that hair of yours, going a little at a time. Ugh. That's what you always do when you come up against a hard problem, isn't it? That was what she said. Sorry. That was what she had said to me over and over again until I was finally able to move my body again. Being served her own words, she found herself at a loss for words, but not in resignation. My hair is curly. Haha. I laughed intentionally and pushed out the corners of my mouth with my fingers. She looked at me reapproachfully, but said shortly, I'll treasure it. Yeah. Saying this, I looked at the clock at my tablet. On my tablet. I need to get back to work. Ah, at any rate, they'll go on until late in the night, right? I'll come again. Lisa will on me about it too. You won't come unless Lisa tells you to. He stared right at me. It's enough to make me think about gravity, and without recalling Newton and his apple. The story of Newton's apple was apocalyptical. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. I guess we're gonna stop for today when we saw this scene. Since for some reason today I struggle with reading. I still don't know why on some days I struggle with reading more than with on our days. But I guess today not the day. Anyway. The story of Newton's apple was apocryphal, but it made me wonder if he came up with gravity from the force that drew people close. Started walking off as if to escape Chris' gravitational field. Please, don't be cruel. My left leg doesn't move, after all. It was about 70% true that I wouldn't go unless Lisa told me to go. Ironically, I knew perfectly that it was the reason behind me getting close to Chris. Please come. I'm out. Yes. She grasped her indignation, but she didn't forcefully come chasing after me. I did feel that she was becoming more an adult, but people didn't change deep down. She probably was all shaken up and unable to sleep at all the day before the college entrance exam. She was good at going at a steady pace, but taking a great leap was her weak point. And how about me? I gave us a slight side after. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, actually, let's stop on this place. Yeah, we didn't read a lot, but still. I guess we gotta try read a little bit more on Saturday. Hmm. I mean, maybe I probably would I'm a little bit sleepy. Maybe I need to actually start sleep a little bit more. Because lately I sleep less than 8 hours, but I wanted to sleep every day. Um, I mean, I know a lot of people can sleep much lesser, but it's unfortunately didn't work for me. Mm, but yeah, anyway, let's stop here because mostly because I think it's a good place to stop, and I know where it's gonna be another place to stop. So yeah. Um. So yeah, next World and Economic Stream will be on Saturday. But for now, goodbye. Have a nice time of the day.